everyone. This is Allen Bonde from TreviPay, and today I'm excited to be joined by Wendy Ward from UATP. How are you, Wendy?
I'm excellent, Alan. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So I'm excited because we're going to talk about the power of the network. We're going to talk about this whole kind of shifting preferences, what individual travelers want versus what their company needs. But like other episodes, we're going to start with a little bit about you. Like, let's talk about your background, how you got into this business, but also, I guess, what you like about it, what's interesting, what's changing.
Again, thank you for having me. And October of 2024 will actually be 20 years that I've been with UATP. And it's been a thrill.
I smell a big plaque or something, or watch.
Yeah, exactly right. I hope so. No, it's fantastic because it's never the same. You know, as the CMO here, my everyday is different every single day. And I love that because it is everything from dealing with, the brand awareness of UATP to dealing with our network to dealing with our partners, things like what we're doing right now. And it's just ever turning. I've been through many iterations with UATP that it always seems like we come to a fork in the road of, okay, do we go left or do we go right? And it's always about growth, which is fantastic because if you look over the years of UATP, we're always changing. For instance, we just did a brand refresh, and it's very applicable because UATP has launched new products. We're on the PSP side with UATP One. Our AFP business is growing gangbusters. We're getting new issuers, we're getting new merchants, new partnerships, and it's just exciting, and I think that extends in the payment industry and all the changes that payments have gone through in the last 5 years, but also in the airline industry. I mean, it's never a dull moment.
Well, there's this little thing called COVID that kind of changed a lot.
Yeah, it made things certainly very interesting. I don't think anybody ever thought that the airline industry, that all planes would just stop flying for a while, and just never, ever thought that would happen. But the good thing, trying to make lemonade out of lemons, we went through and truly updated all of our technology, a bunch of our partnerships. I think we were exceptionally busy during the entire time because we were making advancements. And you were always looking for new ways to bring in partnerships, new revenue. What can we do to make things better? So when we do get out of COVID, everybody's prepared. And, we did that on UATP, but I think the entire industry, airline, travel, and payments also did. And it's exciting to see because there have been significant changes all around. And it's extremely positive because, look at the industry now. People are coming back. They're actually having profitability. I don't know of a flight that I've been on in the last 2 years that it hasn't been packed. And that's good for business. And it's good to see that we came out of this very positive in what was, for the industry, an exceptionally hard time. And thankfully that's over.
But that's a great setup, and I think all of us are in a similar version of this, right? That it's been a time of renewal. People have been forced to be innovative, right? A couple roles ago, when I was at Forrester Research, I was in the middle of this, and we were studying how some companies really were resilient, but also they use this time to innovate. And I think what you're describing is similar actually across multiple sectors, but areas like travel, hospitality suffered the most as businesses, but also they maybe innovated more than most.
Yes, 100%. And I hope that continues, because we have had so many advances. And my fear is always like, do we get into a comfortability situation where people are going to say, oh, well, we're doing great now, so we don't have to innovate as much, where the opportunities are boundless right now. You've got things like AI, ChatGPT, which they're a little scary to think of in the immediate future, but there's also a lot of good that can come out of it. And I think that kind of technological advancement will continue in airline, hospitality, payments for sure. And I hope that that trend continues because there's a lot that can happen in this industry to make everything better, but also more efficient.
No, this is a great segue. So we're talking with Wendy Ward from UATP. Let's flip over to what you're cooking up for this little event that's coming up. So UATP, I think, has a unique role in the market, but also part of your role is bringing together those partners and those different types of buyers. Give the audience a little flavor of what's going to happen in Vienna.
Yeah, sure. So every year UATP puts on a main event. It's called Airline Distribution. We rotate it around the world so that it's a little easier for some people to get to. If you're in Asia Pacific and then you have to get to the US, that's a longer flight. So we try to rotate it to really have more participation. And what we're going to talk about this year, it's the entire distribution chain. So UATP 100% is in the payment side, as everybody knows, but that influences and is influenced by everything else in the distribution chain. So you've got, your booking, your looking, your payment obviously within there, what happens in flight, are you able to pay for things in flight, what happens post? And all of that between your TMCs, your payment groups, your technology companies, anything that's happening in NDC and one order, one offer, these are all things that are becoming a part of this chain that people are trying to maximize and become more efficient on. And I think part of the talk that you've seen in this last several years, even a little, it started pre-COVID, was the end-to-end offering and who's going to maximize that and be able to really put this forward. So I think that's where a lot of these partnerships are coming in, because you're looking at, oh, okay, so we might be a payment company, but we can do a lot with a TMC or with an OTA, with the airline traditionally, of course. But what more can we do to be a part of that value chain and that network that's going to bring forth what, as you and I were talking about, customer experience, customer demand, but also what's best on the efficiency and business side. And it's this whole chain that I think is getting, it seems like it's getting bigger because there's more players, but it's actually getting smaller because everybody is partnering to be a part of that.
See, I love this because, we talk a lot at TreviPay about the power of the network, right? And it really is, whether you're the network operator or network participant. If I nerd out a little bit, right back to my research days, that's a digital platform. And digital platform businesses are by nature more and more efficient and more effective the bigger they get. So the more participants, the more buyers, the more sellers, the more sort of value add, whether you're talking about eBay, right, or Amazon or your network, they're all network models. And I think that enables a different type of end to end. And oh, by the way, these networks spit off a lot of data, and the data allows all the participants to get better and to understand and sort of get to the root of what individual buyers, you know, want and prefer. And we've talked a lot about the sort of blurring between business consumers and sort of everything in between. You know, by day, I'm a business buyer. By night, I'm a consumer. I kind of
Yeah,
expect the things to be the same when I'm going in between my different merchants and my different providers. And so I think generally this is good for the industry, but also it's maybe a challenge for companies who've traditionally, just thought about businesses as being driven very specifically by, you know, cost or efficiency. But really, those business buyers want the same experience that they get in their consumer role. And I think that's what you mean kind of by the end to end, right? Which is
yeah,
like who touches them, but also how do they feel about that experience? Because we know in the data that when people are more engaged, they have more choice, they buy more stuff. Shocker.
absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's become a focus simply because, as you said, you know, some people probably had more consumer travel the last couple of years than business travel. And so you're getting used to an experience as a consumer and a leisure traveler versus the business traveler. And that is definitely affecting what's happening. And the efficiencies and innovations, it's all stemming into the distribution chain, and you've got groups that are coming out like Spotnana that are on the corporate side are becoming very interesting in what they're doing in the market. You've got, mergers and acquisitions that are happening, that traditional companies are buying these really innovative companies, and it's going into biometrics and all these other solutions that you probably wouldn't have thought of as a traditional company even 5 years ago that you would be a part of now. So it truly is that end-to-end holy grail, so to say, of who's going to do it, who can do it, who do we need to partner with to do it, can we do it alone, what do we need to do from an IT standpoint, and it's just an exceptionally exciting time to see all of this happening.
And as a tech provider, are you friendly to partner with, right? This is something that we're leaning into in terms of acting more like a tech company, but offering up APIs to different participants in the network so that they can kind of plug and play. And the
Absolutely.
techies like to talk about, plug and play, or composability is another term. It actually means making it easier to do business. So let's put a pin in this, because this has been a great conversation. I've been talking with Wendy Ward from UATP. How can people learn more about your event? Because I know that we reach a pretty broad audience outside of travel. Maybe how can they learn about your event, and then any last maybe predictions on what else you expect to see this year?
Yeah, sure. So about the event, go to UATP.com. We've got a whole section on airline distribution. You can reach out to me directly. It's something I put together every year. So that's wward@uatp.com. Very happy to talk with anyone. And then I think predictions, on the payment side, it's going to be innovations, the payment experts such as UATP and TreviPay. We're going to be the winners in all of this. And I see longevity for both organizations, in addition to just massively continued growth on payments. Nobody was really looking at that traditionally, but everybody's looking at payments now. And whether it's your airline partner, whether it's, an AFP processor on the PSP side, all of this, they're going to look to us, the experts, and how to maximize their business, how to bring in new revenue and be more efficient. And I think, as you and I were talking about speed to market, that's why people partner with UATP. We're connected to all the airlines around the world, all the BSPs, majority of the airlines, and everybody wants to be in travel payments now. And with a payment expert, it's very complex, and we're trying to make it
But it's
easier.
worth it. This is
It's
the point.
absolutely worth it.
It's complicated, but it's the juice is worth the squeeze. And so
Absolutely.
this is a great point to end on. So thank you so much, Wendy, for joining us. If you want to listen to other episodes of Beyond the Transaction, check them out at TreviPay.com. This has been Allen Bonde. We'll talk to you soon.